Hey guys, in this video tutorial we will see uh, how the level end works. That is, if there is a exit for a level, that is when the player reaches the uh, when the player reaches end of the level, the next level has to be loaded. We will see how that functionality is done. So couple of changes from the last video tutorial with respect to the player. The first thing is let's open player prefab and add a tag for player game objects. So there is this tag that already comes with Unity. So tag our game object player, and we need to add layer also player. Okay, so I already added a player layer, and that is assigned to this layer only for this game object. So if you see head race, foot race, these things doesn't have any layer. Only for player game object I set the layer to player and tag to player. And one more thing is, in previous video tutorial, in the rigid body, player gravity scale was set to 1 by default. So don't keep it 1, keep it 0. This way what happens is, whenever the level is getting loaded, player gravity won't be taken by Unity physics. Instead, we will control the player gravity in the player update script. So if you see here from the last tutorial, in the update method, if the level is not loaded, we are controlling the player gravity here. It comes down as well as player rotation happens. So we will set the gravity to 0. So when you apply it to prefab, everywhere it will be reflected. Okay, so this changes make gravity to 0, add a tag to a player tag, and add a player layer. Okay, so these three things are done now. And in the script, you have to include one namespace called using unity engine.scene management. So we are going to use a scene management class in this player script, because whenever we reach the end of the level, let me show you scene. Yeah, whenever we reach the end of the level, we have to load the next scene. Okay, so I added this namespace, and there are two functions that are introduced in the player script. One is reached level end. So in this function, what I do is, whenever the player reaches the end of the level, this function will be called. I will tell you how this function will be called after in a couple of minutes. Okay, so once the player reaches the end of the level, we cancel the jumping. If the player is jumping up, and if the player reaches the end of the level, cancel the player jumping. And so this already we have seen in previous video tutorial. So this function does the cancel the tween for jumping, and it sets all the value to default. And we destroy the collider, that is, we destroy this circle collider. We say take input equal to false. If you do it, this condition won't be satisfied. And where did it go? Okay, and we are saying game object dot set active false. So whole this player game object itself will be set to false. And we say rigid body. When we say rigid body, we take the rigid body of the player and we set the velocity to 0. And we say to player cam. So for every scene, there is this player camera that is attached, that will follow the player. So we are saying player cam follow equal to false. So when you set it to false, camera won't be following the player. Okay, so that's the reason we set it to false. And we say level manager dot instance cam fade complete second to -1, just set it to -1. And in the next line, we get the component of the fade screen, and we say fade complete second, that is for fade and or fade out effect, how much seconds we need to do fade in or fade out effects. So that's what this variable denotes. So for this I am assigning fade complete second on start. So if you see the player, whenever the level loads, with how much time it takes to do fade out effect, the same second we want to apply it when we reach the level end. Okay, so I will show in visually how it happens. And we say do fade in equal to true, it means the screen will go to black, and we subscribe for this on fade in complete event. And once the fade in is completed, this function will be called, and camera, that is our main camera, will be switched off. Not main camera, yeah, main camera will be switched off. And there is this function called disable level colliders. So what it does is it finds game objects of type collider 2D. So in the whole scene it will find all the collider 2D. So it will find collider of player, it will find collider of platform, all the collider 2D component we will find it, and we will store it in the array. And we iterate through that colliders, and we make all those colliders to uh, false, meaning disabling all the colliders in the scene. Okay, and in the next line we say level manager dot instance dot load next scene. So this thing I explained in the previous video tutorial where I was explaining about the level manager. So this event on level end event, see, this is getting called here. So whoever subscribed to this event on level end event, those guys will get the message, and remaining things is same, and we load the next scene. So I will say how this reached level end method is getting called. So I will tell you in this video itself. So what I will show you in visual format what happened. So I have created this sample scene. We have the player here, and we have the platform, everything, and in at the end I kept one exit icon. So this is the level end. So when the player reaches this trigger, whenever the player enters this trigger, what will happen is it means the level is complete and a new level can be loaded. So this is a exit icon prefab. I made this as a prefab. Let's open the prefab. It is set to 0, 0, scale is there. We have one sprite renderer, and this sprite renderer have a sprite called door underscore exit. Let me click that. So this is the door sprite. Okay, so if you see its sprite details, it is 100 by 100 pixels. So we assigned the sprite renderer, and we added one unity animator component to animate the sprite. Okay, so this is the animator component. I will, so okay, let me explain about animation now. So if you want to see how the animation happens for this sprite, click on this, go to window, animation. Now what I do is, in the animator component I just added the sprite renderer color, and if you play this, you see this is blinking. This gives a notification or visual indication to the player that this is an exit for this level. And it also gives an indication to the player, like when the player sees this blinking, he might think, hey, something is blinking over there, let's go over there and see what happens. So when he enters for first time, he will realize, okay, this is an exit, and this takes me to the next level. So he will understand visually. That's the reason we are giving this animation effects for a visual indication to a player that this is an exit. So what we do is, at first second, at 0 second it is 1, and 40th second it is 0.5, it means I am reducing zero point 0.5. Okay, I am keeping the alpha transparency to off of the existing color, and then it goes like this to 1. So this is what happens. So what we do here is we animate like this color is getting animated in the animator component, and this animator component name is exit underscore icon. So what we do here is we attach this animator component and we give this controller called exit icon. So this component, that is, if sorry, this controller, if you open, you see a animation state called exit underscore blink. So for that I given this motion, that is exit underscore blink animation, and I set speed equal to 1. And if you say loop time, I made this animation as loopable animation, and everything remains the same, and that's it. So we have the script, we have this animator component, and in the next game object, under this game object comes the exit that has a box collider. Okay, so go to scene, this is a box collider, and I made this as a trigger. So this is very easy to understand, and I have this exit script. Let's open it. Okay, so this is pretty simple. What we do here is when some game objects enter this trigger, we check that incoming game object tag is equal to player. If it's equal to player, what I do is I get the component player component. It means I know this is a player game object, so I get the player script and I call reached level end. So now all those things will happen. Now when you reach this exit, it will load the next level. So what I did here is I created two scenes: sample scene 1, where I kept the exit here, and I created one more scene, sample scene underscore 1, that is a duplicate of the existing scene. So the only difference between this scene and this scene is this. So here you see this platform, right? This is white. So in this scene, this is black. So I added these two scenes in the build setting. Now let me start. So when I start the level, I will be able to do all those things. And there is this exit icon, you see, that is blinking. If I maximize it, you will be able to see it clearly, you see. And when I reach here, see, whole screen is fading in and it loads the next level. So let me do one more time. So this is the scene 1. I don't have exit here, but if you see, the process is very simple. So what happens is when the player reaches the exit collider, I called reached level end method. So let's put a breakpoint and see how it happens. So I made this exit icon as a prefab, and what happened? Okay, oh, sorry. And I dragged and dropped that prefab into the existing scene. Okay, so in this scene we have that collider, and I put a breakpoint here. So now when you go, okay, let me minimize it from full screen. So this is called by on trigger enter, and in the player class we say reached level end, we cancel the jumping. And if you see, in the next line we destroy the collider, we make take input to false, and the game object will be set to uh, false. Okay, and rigid body is also set to 1 second. Let me show it again, it will be easy for you guys. Instead of, I want to show what happens for the player when it exits. Oh shit, I can't pass the game. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, let's put it on game object of player, and this is attached. Let's go to the exit. You see, take input is false and game object is setting to false and rigid body is false, and we say camera follow is also false, and we say do fade in, meaning make the scene make the scene transition to invisible state, that is completely make the scene complete black. So we give this command to fade screen, but in how much second the fade in effect has to happen, so that we get from fade complete seconds on start, that is in the player script, and we assign it, and in 1 second it will fade in. So once its fade in is completed, I want this function to be called. So I subscribe to on fade in complete event. Okay, and I put a breakpoint. Let me run it. Now screen will fade in. See, now fade in complete happens and I make this game object. Now you see this player collider is not there, player game object is disabled, and fade in also is completed, and I make camera dot set active to false, and I disable all the level colliders, and here I say load next scene. Now if I put a breakpoint here, it will come and it will invoke the level end event, and in this scenario if you see it, I am saying load the next scene, that is 1, and 1 is less than or equal to 1, because 2 minus 1 1. Now we are saying load the next scene, so start coroutine will load the next scene in the background, and that you can see it here. You see sample scene 1, and that is loaded. So now we have a start point as well as end point. So whenever you start a level, this camera fade in effect happens, and whenever you reach the end of the level, uh, fade in effect there is some fade in effect happens, and then it loads the next level. So now we have integrated the basic functionality, that is we are able to start the level and we are able to reach the level end. So with this code you will be able to create multiple levels with the static platform like this, and in each level you keep a exit icon, and whenever the player reaches the level end it will load the next level. All you have to do is in the build settings you have to add your levels. So in this case sample scene 1 scene and sample scene underscore 1 I added. So that's it. I think one more thing is pending. Exit is done. Now in the next tutorial we will see about slanted platform, that is if the now the platform is straight, what if the platform is slanted like this, then player should be able to go on top of this platform, that is player should be able to move on this platform, and player should be able to come down. So let me show you how that how the output will look like in my actual project. So come on, let's load this in. open the game. So still now we have seen about only static platform, that is the platform that is not static platform, straight platform. So all these platforms are not tilted, it is straight. So what if you have a slanted platform? So on that case the player should be able to go up and come down. So that's the feature that we have to see. Come on, load fast. Okay, let me load this level from my actual project. So this is what I mean. Oh shit, what happened here? Something weird happened here. 1 second, let me show you. Level underscore 15, let me copy the level manager, let me run it now. This is the slanted platform I'm talking about. Hold on. So we have the slanted platform. See, now the player is going up and down and I'm able to jump up. See, we will see how this functionality is done in the next video, so that player will be able to traverse on the straight platform as well as on slanted platform. Okay, so that I will tell you guys. I hope you guys understood this tutorial. We'll catch up all of you guys in the next video tutorial. Bye.